Hi, thank you for clicking on this video. This is a summary and analysis by me, Muhammad Ali, on the book Extra Focus by Jesse J. Anderson. Before getting started, please answer the following questions. You may want to stick around to the end if you've answered at least 5 yeses. One presentation of ADHD is called predominantly inattentive presentation. Question 1. Fails to pay close attention to details or makes careless mistakes. Question 2. Has trouble holding attention. Question 3. Does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. Question 4. Has trouble following through on instructions. Question 5. Has trouble organizing tasks and activities. Question 6. Avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to do tasks requiring sustained mental effort. Question 7. Loses things necessary for tasks and activities. Question 8. Easily distracted. Question 9. Forgetful in daily activities. The second type of presentation is predominantly hyperactive impulse presentation. Question 1. Fidgets with or taps hands or feet, or squirms in seat. Question 2. Has trouble remaining seated. Question 3. Runs or climbs in inappropriate situations as a child. Feels restless as an adult. Question 4. Unable to take part in leisure activities quietly. Example, watching TV. Question 5. Constantly acts or feels on the go, or as if driven by a motor. Question 6. Talks excessively. Question 7. Blurts out answers before a question has been completed. Question 8. Has trouble waiting their turn, interrupts, or intrudes on others. The final presentation is combined presentation, which meets both the previous mentioned presentations. The final criteria: answered yes to 5 or more of the previous 17 questions. For a diagnosis in children, 6 or more. Symptoms or behaviors persisted for 6 or more months and have been present in 2 or more settings, such as home, work, school, or other, with some symptoms being present before the age of 12. The list of symptoms for each presentation that follows is not intended to be a self-diagnosis tool, but it is helpful to know what doctors and medical professionals may look for, and which presentation you may fall under. ADHD presents itself in different ways and can change how it does over time. This is why it is seen as having different presentations, not different types of ADHD. Now, let us get started. The purpose of the book is to help you live with ADHD, if you have it, and to learn about what it is. Perhaps this will help you in understanding people who have it, and what they experience. This book I would presumably categorize as science and math in nature. It isolates a problem, defines that problem, and sets out ways to deal with that problem. Remember, the issues are cyclical in a way and can be used to your advantage. The problem with ADHD are broken out into 5 key issues. Every issue is connected to the other. Issue 1. You have to define ADHD first to better understand it. Then you have to realize the biggest problem with ADHD is spending time on tasks that make no difference in your life while ignoring tasks that actually make your life better. So how do you stop playing video games and make that bookshelf you've needed for your room? How do you kickstart that activity? After kickstarting it, do you then task yourself to making the furniture for your entire living room at the same time? Is that going to cause burnout? If so, how could you avoid that burnout? Will you then stack other plans on top of the plans for your bookshelf and forget about the bookshelf altogether? Let's say you complete the bookshelf. When all the books are set on your shelf, will you remember the shelf you made? Or will you forget about it and remember only that you did not make all the furniture in your living room? What memory will you choose? Essentially, the book will outline for you how you can create a flow state whereby you understand you have ADHD, set out tasks that you can manage and accomplish, and focus your efforts to those things that make your life better. And finally, remembering how your life was made better, further associating tasks and their completion to positive reinforcement. The same kind of reinforcement that will make you want to properly engage in other tasks to their completion, creating more positive associations in the process. So remember to choose tasks properly according to your condition, complete them without burning out, and remember how well you did. This doesn't have to be an entire task. If you wanted to make furniture for your living room, maybe start by figuring out the layout of where things will go. Congratulate yourself, and associate positive reinforcement to the task from the start. You can then, for example, figure out how much lumber is required next, and so on and so on, all the while positively reinforcing yourself throughout. Understanding the real problems is key to addressing them. This slide and the others labeled issue will help in understanding. Once you understand the problem, the solution will begin to make more sense. Let's address the first issue, the issue of definition. Attention deficit. ADHDers are not deficit in their attention. They have an abundance of it, but at the cost of focusing all that attention on everything, all at once. Hyperactivity disorder. Hyperactivity happens in the mind of ADHDers as well, not just outwardly throughout the body, such as fidgeting, doodling, bouncing your legs. These are all outwardly. Internally, it's just as frantic, if not more. Issue 2. ADHDers are unable to take action to get the ball rolling. They oftentimes require interest-based motivators to begin, whereas non-ADHD brains require reward-based. An interest-based brain needs to either be 1. Captivated or interested in the task or goal, 2. Find creative or novel ways to push forward into the task, 3. Need competition or a challenge to urge them into a task, or 4. Need to feel an urgent need to complete a task. Issue 3 involves time and the desire for the ADHD mind to commit to more tasks than it can handle in a set amount of time, due in part to issue 2 of not starting. When you commit to more tasks and take longer and longer time to start, you end up with lots of tasks whose deadline fast approaches, which causes burnout or a feeling of being overwhelmed. Notice how a task or goal requires ability, time, energy, and motivation. Ability is oftentimes abundant in the ADHD brain, but due to motivation issues, time runs out, requiring more energy to be dumped out in a short amount of time near the end, burning the mind out, and making it feel overwhelmed. These are serious issues and require perhaps some therapy to handle. Issue 4 has to do with failure to remember. Normally, once something is out of sight, it is out of mind for the ADHD brain, which is why it's important to keep tasks that require completion at the forefront of your eyes, and proper motivation to begin those tasks. Just to offset this with issue 5, the ADHD mind is good at remembering bad things, however. So in order to add motivation to complete tasks, you must remember tasks and goals and accomplishments that you did finish, to push you to not neglect what is in front of you. Issue 5 has to do with remembering the efforts that yielded positive results. Results where your life did change for the better. ADHDers as children were likely corrected more often than normal children. The thoughts of not being good enough are very pure and rigged into their brainwork. If anyone is in need of positive reinforcement, it's them. So don't worry if you don't complete a task, just move on. Whatever little success you have is glorious, live in it, and move to completing what you started. We will now discuss the solutions to our issues. The first being understanding what ADHD is. We know it's an oxymoron acronym that actually means there is an abundance of attention and internal as well as external hyperactivity that could likely be linked to too much corrective reinforcement when you were a child. We can now unravel the solutions that will lead to us getting started quicker, finish tasks that we can handle on time, and reinforce that behavior with positive remembrance of all those events. Side note, all solutions going forward aren't a magic bullet. There are many ways to deal with each issue respectively. Interchange the solutions. When one stops working, use the other. Nothing is perfect. It's always moving. Solution to issue 2 comes in the 4 C's. But before we get to them, we have to understand what it is the ADHD mind needs to do to motivate itself. Normally, the ADHD mind decides to move everything at once because its attention is abundant and everywhere. Then it remembers how painful that feeling was and resents moving to begin with. So how do you push a series of tasks or boulders, let's say, to the finish line? Not all at once, but one into the other. Push one, make it build momentum, and smash its momentum and your energy into the next boulder. You would never start a car in 5th gear. You'd stall or take off very slowly if you have proper clutch release and lots of torque and horsepower. But that of course is foolish. Start in 1st gear. Do the easiest and fastest thing first to build that positive reinforcement and momentum. Then switch into 2nd, then 3rd, all the way to top gear. You will notice also that you will be moving ultra fast and at lower RPMs. You will be pushing all the boulders now, for example, and be using less energy to do so. Here's a simple principle to keep in mind. When taking on large projects, focus on the fewest steps needed to take action. Side note, this could negate the effects of the negative feeling you would get from seeing an overwhelming list of tasks to complete if you map everything out at once. Imagine a list as long as Santa's that you must complete. You are no magical being, so you must make a smaller list with an overarching understanding of what else is required, and let your ability and focus take care of the rest in a sense. How do you shift into 1st? By using 4 C's. Once done enough, you won't need the 4 C's. You will just have an automatic response to those tasks you use them on. The ADHD brain is interest-based. 1. Captivate, or interest. Superimpose feelings of happiness to tasks you don't want to complete. Watch Star Trek while folding laundry, for example. Side note, this could be used maliciously by those wanting to make something torturous to another more enjoyable. So be careful of cowardly nerds like that. And don't be those someones. Create novelty. When doing questions in a textbook, have fun. Do even questions first, or do every 5th question, then 4th, and so on. Create novelty. Compete or challenge. Challenge a friend to see who can do the dishes first. Complete urgency. You can't watch your favorite show until you finish washing your car. Create a sense of urgency. following solutions to issues 3 to 5 are direct copy and paste of what was in the book. Please note that to fully understand and appreciate them requires an understanding of the nuances presented in the book that aren't in this presentation. So here are solutions to issue 3. Learn to say no gracefully. Avoid overcommitting by guarding your yes and not agreeing to every new opportunity. Create time-based goals rather than outcome-based goals. Use time-based goals rather than outcome-based ones so you can celebrate success even when you don't completely finish a task in the time you have available. Make micro-commitments. Propel yourself into motion by making a micro-commitment, a fast and easy action to ensure progress. Use visual timers. Use visual timers to keep you on track as time passes and to generate urgency that will help get you or keep you motivated. Keep a historical time log. Use a stopwatch or timer app to record your travel times to make better estimates in the future. Turn waiting mode into thinking mode. When stuck in waiting mode, write out your thoughts to help clarify your thinking and clear any worries. Do something fun. Alternatively, when you're stuck in waiting mode, try to embrace doing something fun instead of just worrying and doing nothing at all. Make it obvious. Make important tasks obvious and visible so you don't forget about them until the last minute. Set reminders. Create reminders to help you keep track of important tasks. Solutions to issue 4. Get a good app. Using apps and tools with customizable notifications can help you manage your organization and stay on top of your tasks and responsibilities. Make it convenient. Make important information convenient, visible, and easily accessible so they are more likely to be remembered. Make it visual. Keep important reminders literally in your sights so you're more likely to remember and act on them. Create an action anchor. Use action anchors, objects associated with an action you want to take, as environmental cues to complete a task. Double-checking beats reworking. Double-check your assumptions about a project or task to ensure you fully understand the requirements and expectations. Make it permanent. Create a permanent record by writing things down so you can reference your notes in the future. Use drop zones and launch pads. Use launch pads placed in consistently used drop zones to store essential items and ensure you don't forget to bring them with you. Count on it. To build a routine, name it and its associated number of tasks. Then say both out loud to recall the required actions. Solutions to issue 5. Create a smile file. Create a smile file of wins and accomplishments you can refer to, replacing your negative soundtrack with indisputable proof of your achievements. Expand your vocabulary of emotions. Expand your vocabulary of emotions to better understand the nuances of each emotion and improve how you respond to them. Use a mood journal. Using a journal or app to track and reflect on changes in your mood can help you better understand what's happening in your life and foster emotional growth. Create some space. Creating space can help you gain a healthier perspective on a stressful situation. Remember the past relationship. When conflict arises with someone, take a step back. Compare your history with the person to see if your strong immediate reaction really makes sense. Find your reset. Find those experiences that recharge your self-worth. Write out your thoughts and feelings. Journaling can provide clarity and help you identify negative thought patterns by allowing you to observe your emotions from a more critical distance. Take care of your basic needs. Taking care of basic needs is crucial for your mental health and overall well-being. Buy yourself some time. Resist impulsive reactions by buying time, which will allow your hindsight and foresight to catch up and weigh in on your decision making. Learn from past mistakes. Reflect on past situations to avoid making the same mistakes. So here are my final thoughts and analysis. I believe this book is a must-read for anyone trying to get a fundamental understanding of ADHD, and to add some tools in their toolbox to solve ADHD issues in their own lives. The book is incredibly easy to read. I recommend going through it on your own pace. I highly doubt it'll take more than a few days to finish cover to cover. You owe it to yourself to read this book, especially if you've reached this far into the video. ADHD perhaps is a problem for you. It is an incredibly inexpensive ebook, and you'd be helping a fellow ADHDer become ultra successful. The book set out to explain ADHD and how to live with it and thrive with it. It outlined roles that are best suited to ADHDers in the workplace. The only issue I had was that it did not outline which of the issues were in relation to attention and which were related to hyperactivity. I'm guessing there are pieces of attention and hyperactivity with each issue that was presented. It just would have been nice to compartmentalize things further. But aside from that, it is an exceptional, profound, and incredible book. You must read it. Thank you. Take care. With love, Mohammed.